Welcome to This Week's Okay at Work with myself, Sarah Sawyer, and my colleague, Russell Berger, both attorneys at Offit Kurman. And today we are talking about the snow. So lots of snow going on. I know I can see a little bit outside of your windows, Russell, and kids are home for snow days while we're filming this, and lots of snow going on, full swing in January past the holidays and on to snow days. So today we are talking about how to handle snow days from a compensation perspective. So there are specific rules on what to do as it relates to exempt and non-exempt employees when you have a snow day. Obviously, a lot of employers should have policies on what happens with snow days or other emergency type days. Well, what's the starting point, Russell? What do people need to consider?
Yeah, well, the starting point is you got to make good, smart decisions as a business about keeping your people safe. Not only is it the right thing to do and important to actually keep people safe and good for the business in the long term, it also has a big impact with employees. You don't want to do things that alienate and offend employees, at the scale of, you're going to travel through the snow and deal with bad weather and unsafe conditions just to come into the office. Like that's not, a generally tolerated position in the marketplace. So, that's the starting point. In terms of, so if you decide to, close the office for a day, there's two answers to this. Non-exempt employees, those that are generally paid by the hour, get paid for the hours that they work. So from a federal law standpoint, they're not entitled to any compensation unless they actually work. So if you cancel a day at work and they're not working, then you're not obligated to pay them anything. Secondly, for exempt employees, those that are get a weekly guaranteed salary, if they work it all during the week, then they are obligated to be paid their weekly salary for that week. So they work 3 days, 4 days, 4.5 days, 2 days, 6 days, they get their salary. Salary, it's independent of the hours worked in that week. So they would, get their salary whether you close the office or not. That being said, it is a pretty bad look to not pay, to have bad weather and have employees go unpaid. So there's lots of different strategies for dealing with that. And whether that's, you can apply, it's an unpaid day, but you can apply PTO being a strategy, which, may also rub employees the wrong way because they're being forced to burn PTO. Or, we have a separate bucket of X number of hours of, firm closure leave or business closure leave or emergency leave, whatever it is. And it could be for snowstorms, but it could be for hurricanes, it could be for floods, it could be for any number of other unexpected things that may result in office closure, where the firm policy or the business policy may be, look, we've got to close the office for this day, but you've got this special bucket that we only allow you to tap in when we call it a snow day. You can tap into your snow leave bank and, apply 8 hours for this day.
Yeah. And something to consider, obviously remote work is something that a lot of folks will implement as well for those who are able to work remotely in these situations, or, to try to minimize disruptions to the week, especially if it ends up being more than, one day is sometimes more manageable than multiple, and people might want to still be working. But something to be considering there also is obviously, we talked about a little bit at the beginning here, schools are closed, kids are home, people are dealing with the disruptions to their personal life as well. So, there's kind of, we cover the legal bucket, obviously, in the need to be compliant with wage and hour laws and make sure that you've got a compliant policy. But there's also the cultural piece and making sure that you have, when you are creating a policy, that you're thinking about these things. Obviously, we all became very accustomed to kids in the background of Zoom and Teams calls during COVID and since, and with remote work. But it's just definitely something to consider and allow some additional flexibility where possible and be prepared, especially when you have non-exempt workers who might be working remote, and making sure that you've got time clock policies and different things in effect for if you have them working remote unexpectedly on a day from an emergency like snow or some other type of weather event or issue that you might have. It's good to have it for all different types of emergent circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, like we all kind of lived through this not that long ago with COVID. Like we should be able to transition to remote work pretty quickly in a lot of circumstances. Obviously, not every business can do that, but in a lot of circumstances, we should be able to do that. And so I think that makes a lot of sense. But to your point, being aware that snow days present some additional challenges even with remote work. So you just have to be conscious and flexible, and have like everything, have a plan for how you're going to engage with employees. Around the added challenges of everyone being stuck in the house on a snow day.
Yeah, you don't want to be planning the day that the snow is falling. You definitely want to be planning ahead of time. So, well, thanks, Russell. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Sarah.